present. We've talked about that. I know, of course, that in this moment, he's talking about the marriage. Okay, thanks. I didn't know how to write that in third. Now we can get on to what he says next. I have a crush on someone. She knows immediately who it is, feels a little sick. It takes her a while to say anything. Do you want to go to couples therapy? He agrees to go to couples therapy, but let's be clear. His response is a damp sure, or okay, or maybe even I guess. It's probably I guess, because that feels the worst. The wife claps her hands together. Her best friend calls this her signature move, the one she does when she's ready for some sort of action. They'll go to couples therapy. They'll work it out. This story will change. Listen, you're getting it as we're getting it. This story will change. That's really all we know for sure. This story is open to question. It's open to all the questions. This story is nothing but questions. Easy. Once upon a time, way before the husband came along, a woman was dating younger men. Not even remotely on purpose. There were just more of them who seemed to be available. It was fine. She could only go so much younger at this point because she herself was young. Let's say it started when she was about 27 or 28. There might still have been a scrunchie in her hair. She might still have been listening to Terence Trent D'Arby on her Walkman. And let's be clear, it was never inappropriate. In the early days of dating younger, it was never more than a few years. And one more thing. Her fictional dream man has always been her exact same age, has her exact same pop culture references, like James at 15, or England Dan and John Ford Coley. There was one guy, when she was around 30, who was way older, which was not an improvement, was a massive overcorrection age-wise, but this guy was wrong for her in ways that had little to do with how old he was. Then more younger guys after that, but again, only by a few years. That kind of age difference where 20 years later you realize you were always the same age. Sadly, as time went on, most of the men she met were somehow not getting older. They seemed to be getting 5 to 10 years younger, and she did not see this as a plus. They were cute and interesting, but generally had roommates and ate a lot of ramen. Before the upscale ramen restaurant thing happened, just straight 4 for $1 ramen, and thought a great date was a Blockbuster video and ramen for 2. With maybe some hot sauce added in to doctor it up. But she never liked spicy food, so only the guy's ramen was doctored up. Hers was plain old, undisguised ramen, 12.5 cents worth of ramen, served in mismatched cereal bowls. And this kind of dating went on for a couple years. Nothing too serious, obviously, if the word obviously even needs to be added. And then, in a more unfortunate turn, before this period of her life had passed, the term cougar came into popularity. And right about there, she met the man who would become her husband, and she was 41, and he was 28, and the age difference was neither unnoticed nor unconsidered, but was ultimately put aside in favor of taking it one day at a time. Between them, at that time, they had one living parent. They knew loss, and they knew that they didn't know what was ahead in terms of who'd go first, because nobody gets to know that, and they were in love. They got along. It was easy. They got married. That was easy, too. It was all easy, always. Paper. They met in a church basement in Wicker Park that smelled like burnt coffee and the musty rummage sale items that were always out for the taking, home to daily 12-step meetings. Could be fine, but he was newly sober, she was not. On paper, it looked pretty obviously not promising. There's a whole thing in their program literature about boy meeting girl on program campus having mixed results. Let's be real right now. Girl meeting boys, cute actors once upon a time, on a program campus, is one of the key things that kept this girl coming back when she was new. Not dating in your first year of sobriety is just a suggestion. She was 30 years old at that time, so not a girl. She had already wasted too much time. She hadn't needed to drink over any of those cute actors, and they sure hadn't needed to drink over her either. Thankfully, by the time she met her future husband, she had enough good sense to think about someone else's sobriety, which brings us back to on paper. His presence in the room almost didn't register with her for a while, but then one time he shared something she related to, something about your bad thoughts always seeming more believable than the good ones, and they became friendly, in the way that people do who chat after a meeting, and then walk the fuck away because one of them is depressed and still struggling to get sober, and the other is 10 years sober and feeling way less shitty about her.